Greetings, YouTube family. I am back with another great read. My name is Karen Boyd, the Savvy Reader, and I am actually going to be picking up with part two of the book that we started on last week, The 25 Biblical Laws of Success. Another great read from my bookshelf. We're going to pick up with law number 5. Last week, we read the first 4 laws, which were the law of opportunity, the law of wisdom, the law of vision, and the law of focus. So we're going to pick up with law number 5. Again, I am not the author of this book, and we will not read it all the way through. I'm just going to touch on a few points throughout the book. If you're interested in this book, there is a link in the description box below. This book is available on Amazon. If you're interested in an in-depth discussion about this book, please feel free to join the Savvy Reader community, and the link is here on my channel. So we're going to pick up with law number 5, the law of planning. The plans of the diligent lead to profit. Proverbs 21:5. Anyone intending to be successful cannot ignore the law of planning. This biblical law is illustrated by the following words of Jesus. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, "This person began to build and wasn't able to finish." Or suppose a king is able to go to war against another king. Won't he first sit down and consider whether he is able, with 10,000 men, to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000? If he is not able, he will send a delegation while the others is still a long way off and will ask for terms of peace. That's Luke 14:28-32. The planning stage of any task is paramount to the successful execution of the project. It is not our intent in this book to give you full instructions about planning, but we want you to be aware that planning is an essential step. In order to achieve lasting success, you need to incorporate this concept and seek out books and courses that teach you how to organize and plan your life and your career. I just want to add, you want to seek out, in addition to books and courses, you want to seek out a great mentor or coach. Let's continue. There are 3 levels of planning. Number 1, overall strategic, long-term planning. Number 2, planning for shorter periods, every other week, month, or year. And number 3, weekly and daily planning. Many people believe that making plans is boring or difficult, so they never learn how to plan. The problem is that planning avoids suffering and waste. People with surplus resources don't have to worry as much about planning. But that is not reality for the majority of people. Imagine you are trying to buy a house. If you do your research first, you will choose the best option, taking into account the condition of the property, the price, and the payment terms. If you don't do the research, you will likely fail to get the best deal because you did not plan. Professionals who plan well will stand out in the market. Many cultures do not believe planning is essential, especially long-term planning. In Brazil, for example, we live in a culture of instant rewards and where things end up being done at the last minute. I believe that's the US as well. This was made clear in the lack of planning for the infrastructure required for major events such as the World Cup and the Olympics. If you plan ahead, then you are already better than average. The first step in planning is deciding what you want. Whether your plan is for achieving the final or an intermediate objective, whether your plan includes stages or not, Establish beforehand a plan for what you intend to do. Last week we mentioned the SWOT analysis, and it's also mentioned here in the law of planning. May he give you the desire of your heart and make all your plans succeed. That's Psalms 20:4. There are a variety of systems and tools available to teach you how to plan effectively. And as we mentioned previously, there are many helpful courses and books on the subject. One widely used corporate management tool is the SWOT analysis, which provides a picture of a company's internal and external environments. This technique is credited to Albert Humphrey, who did research at Stanford University in the 1960s and 70s based on data about the Fortune 500, the 500 largest corporations ranked by Fortune magazine. This analysis will help you define the strategic actions you will need to adopt as you identify the positive and negative factors you will have to face. SWOT is an acronym. Remember, we talked about this on last week. So, SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And remember, the SWOT analysis can also be used, of course, in your personal life. So, when you are working with a coach or a mentor, this same analysis can be utilized in your personal life. I just want to throw that in there. The purpose of the SWOT analysis system is to analyze the internal environment's strengths and weaknesses and the external environment's opportunities and threats. This analysis looks at qualities and deficiencies on the internal level and analyzes ease and difficulty on the external level. It can easily be applied to both professional and personal levels. So let's jump to the next law of this book, which would be law number 6. But let me just give you a little bit of what it says here about the SWOT analysis. To know if this tool can help you, ask yourself the following questions. Strengths. What are you good at? What special resources do you possess or have on hand? Weaknesses. What are your flaws? What do you need to improve? Opportunities. What external opportunities have you identified? What can you do for yourself, for your company, and for customers that could be used as an opportunity? Threats. What external difficulties are thwarting your plans? Which events or circumstances may adversely affect you? So let's jump to the law of work. Now, we talk a little bit about the SWOT analysis here. One of the things I wanted to cover really briefly here is the lack of planning. And we already see here is that when there is no planning, then you could fail. Never allow someone's lack of planning to become your emergency. I'm going to repeat that. Never let a friend, a family member, a co-worker, a business partner, or anyone else lack of planning become your emergency. That means that somebody wants to step in and have you to drop everything you're doing because they failed to plan. Planning is key. It is essential. Let's get back to the reading. Part 2, laws concerning work. Law 6, the law of work. All hard working brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. That's Proverbs 14:23. Do you know the riddle of the 3 frogs on a leaf? Well, there are 3 frogs on a leaf, and one of them decides to jump into the water. How many frogs are left on the leaf? Think for a moment before giving an answer because it's not as obvious as it seems. The correct answer is 3 frogs because one of them decided to jump, but the riddle doesn't say that he actually jumped. Quite often, we behave like the frog in the story. We decide to do this or that, but in the end, we do nothing. We have many decisions to make in life, some easy, some difficult. Most of the mistakes we make are not due to wrong decisions, they are due to indecision, omissions, and inaction out of fear that something will go wrong. Action does indeed involve risk, but we have to face those risks because the biggest failure in life lies in doing nothing. In doing nothing. The law of work says that people who don't take action don't accomplish anything and their lives become meaningless. They may avoid experiencing pain, but they don't learn, they don't feel, they don't change, they don't grow, and they don't live. They are like slaves who fear freedom. Only those who take risk are free. Action takes two principal forms: study and work. Studying is a form of work because it gives you knowledge and wisdom. As a rule, it takes a long period of study not only to attain know how, but also certain positions at work and a good salary. But even when you reach the top, you should never stop studying. You can never stop learning. You can never stop learning. Since the world doesn't stand still and human knowledge grows on a daily basis, we must be continual learners. Therefore, studying is not only part of the process of finding a good job or growing a successful business, it should also be part of the daily routine of any professional who wants to keep his position in the market. But studying alone won't solve everything. To say that the only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary is a cliche, but it's a fact. When properly understood, this realization can lead to professional success. If the connection between work and success is ignored, it causes misunderstanding and waste time and money. Time and money. Work breeds success. And work begins with the search for knowledge, whether by studying or gaining practical experience. One of the many traps on the way to success is taking shortcuts. Sometimes the best way is not the shortest or the easiest. The results can be very positive if success takes a long time to achieve. Early success can lead to a negative outcome in some cases because wisdom and the ability to manage often come only with time. That's really good. Let's jump to, for the sake of time in this video, we're going to jump to the law of courage. Law number 7. If you falter in a time of trouble, how small is your strength? Proverbs 24:10. The law of courage speaks to the willingness to take risk. The Bible talks of a frightened servant who, for a lack of courage, did not invest the money he received from his boss, and so he was fired. Matthew 25:14-30. In the story, Jesus says that a man needed to leave the country, so he called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. To one of them he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2, and to another 1. He distributed the bags of gold according to the ability of each servant. The servant who received 5 bags of gold went immediately to trade with them and earned another 5. Likewise, the one who received 2 made another 2. But the servant who received 1 bag went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After some time, the boss returned and called his servants to account. The first 2 had not been idle and didn't miss the opportunity to make more money, and they received their master's praise. The third servant, however, who had hid the money out of fear or insecurity, made no return. Of course, the owner of the goods was not at all content. He confiscated the bag of gold, accused him of being lazy, and said, "You should have put my money on deposit with the banker so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest." The frightened servant had thrown away the opportunity to invest and make a return on the money entrusted to him. All investments require strategic analysis and carry implicit risk. Many people fail to be bold with their investments, preferring to be prudent. We cannot be so bold as to be irresponsible, nor can we be excessively prudent to the point of being lazy, negligent, or content with our lot. You have to take initiative. Strong men retain riches. Proverbs 11:16. Courage also means initiative. As a boy, David faced the giant Goliath. He seized the initiative. He got on with it and attacked first instead of waiting to be attacked. 1 Samuel 17:48. Calculated risk. Whoever digs a pit may fall into it. Whoever breaks through a wall may be bitten by a snake. Whoever quarries stones may be injured by them. Whoever splits logs may be endangered by them. Ecclesiastes 10:8 through 9. In Ecclesiastes 10:8 through 9, Solomon points out that digging ditches and breaking through walls are risky jobs. But there are some risks that, even with a high probability of problems, may be worth it. It has been said, if you want to avoid irritation, don't own a business. In other words, owning a business is a guarantee of problems, but those problems might be worth having, might be worth it in the long run. The law of resilience. Law number 8. To the one who is victorious and does my will to the end, I will give authority over the nations. Revelations 2:26. Revelations 2:26 describes a situation in which those who overcome enormous adversity will be given authority. Power, success, riches are all given as rewards to the winner. It is important to notice that this verse does not refer to professional matters, but to faith and salvation. However, we mention it in a figurative way because it is consistent with the law of resilience, which says that to get to victory, a game must be played, a job must be done, and risks must be taken. The ability to play the game and take the hard knocks is inherent to good players. In the competitive job market, your employability level rises as your adversity quotient rises. Adversity quotient is an expression developed by Paul Stokes, an American economist, after interviewing over 100,000 people to understand why some make it and others don't. More significant than the cold and rational intelligence quotient, and more effective than the psychological evaluation of the emotional quotient. The adversity quotient explains why persistence may be worth more than talent. Based on his study, Stoltz divided people into 3 professional groups: climbers, campers, and quitters. Climbers are those who are in search of challenges. They are people who refuse to be insignificant. Quitters, on the other hand, are those who are risk adverse and who look for a comfort zone. And there is a third type, the campers. They are between the climbers and the quitters. They fly the colors, but only to a certain point. When risk arises, they tend to sit on the wall. The classification of adversity quotient was created as a way of evaluating how people deal with challenges. Those with the higher AQ do not blame others when problems arise. They know how to take responsibility. They do not see setbacks as obstacles. They accept that problems occur by force of circumstances rather than because of their personal nature. The law of resilience is precisely about knowing how to deal with adversity. Being resilient is about being able to cope with pressure. The term originates in physics and represents the property of accumulating energy without breaking when pressured or submitted to distress. A good example is when we step on a deep carpet that is squashed, but then immediately returns to its normal state after we step off. In other words, it bounces back. That is the next set of laws, which was law number 5, law number 6, 7, and 8. And I'm just going to give you the name of those laws again here. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Number 5, the law of planning. Number 6, the law of work. Number 7, the law of courage. And number 8, the law of resilience. That's going to wrap up our reading for this week. Again, if you're interested in purchasing this book, there's a link to Amazon where this book is available for purchase. My name is Karen Boyd. I am the Savvy Reader. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And join me on next week for another great read from my bookshelf. Stay in action.